Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be bringing you some fall DIY projects. A lot of these are inspired by things that I saw at Dollar Tree. Now, not all of the supplies necessarily came from Dollar Tree, but I did give you recommendations on how you could possibly recreate some of these things with Dollar Tree items. For example, I think the first project is all from Hobby Lobby, but there are some great and easy ways you could literally duplicate this project by using some simple Dollar Tree finds. And then, everything else is kind of a mix. But before we get into those, I do, of course, want to say thank you to my long-term subscribers. I call you guys my OGs. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're an OG, you've probably been with me since around August of 2019. Now, if you are another subscriber, a newbie, or anybody in between, thank you to you guys as well. I truly, truly appreciate you being here. And I look forward to bringing you some really cool projects. If YouTube happened to recommend this video to you, first of all, thanks YouTube. And if you're brand new to the channel, let me know in the comments below. And hopefully you'll stick around to become an OG one day yourself. All right, guys, let's get into those projects. And for project number one, we're going to use a set of these small spoons that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, instead of these scoops that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and also this very small cutting board from Hobby Lobby. I also grabbed some of these glitter stickers from Hobby Lobby. Now, you could easily replicate this type of project using very similar Dollar Tree supplies. You could even go into the pantry or the party department, not the pantry department, and grab some of the plastic scoops that they have there and paint them different colors. There's a lot of ways that you can really replicate this for your project. I am going to use one scoop, one spoon, and then I'm going to use an assortment of the stickers for my cutting board there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of lay everything out, just kind of get an idea of how I want to do this. And for these great stickers, what's really cool about them is that they come on a clear sheet. And that really allows you to kind of lay these out and kind of figure out the best design for you, especially when you're using something like this that really has so many cool options. Now, if you have a Cricut, you could certainly redo something for or with your Cricut for this very, very easily. But if you don't have a Cricut, there's such a great assortment of stickers like this that you can find at Michael's, at Hobby Lobby, at Dollar Tree. There are really a lot of great options for you. For mine, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of cut out some of the groupings that I like. And I'm literally going to just start using that clear sheet to my advantage and kind of doing a layout, honestly, of what I want those stickers to look like and kind of how I want the placement. Originally, I was thinking that sweater weather one would be really cute, but it's just didn't show up very well. I love this one that says family, and I think that that's going to be a perfect tie-in to what I want to do. So after I figured that out, I finally got them all stuck down, and this is what it looked like. I wanted to leave some space there because we are going to have these pieces kind of hanging down. Now, I do need to drill a hole in these, so I'm going to grab my Ryobi drill. I'm also going to grab a piece of scrap wood, and I'm just going to drill a hole directly through the center of those. Obviously, be very careful, hold those appropriately, and drill away. And for my paint, now I've got these fantastic art caddies from Arteza that I love so much. They help me keep me organized. I can keep my paints together. Everything is really great. I took this copper paint from Arteza, and I am going to paint my spoon that color. I loved this color. What I also loved about this color is that it's an outdoor color. So if I really wanted to put this like on a wreath form or something and have it outside on the front door, you could totally do that with these paints. But that art caddy really helps me keep everything together. And I'm super happy that I found those. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this copper paint, and I'm just going to paint this little spoon up, trying not to paint my fingers, but we know that's not going to happen. I'm going to definitely end up painting my fingers on this one. And after I had the spoon all painted up with that sponge brush, I'm literally just kind of almost almost using it in the style of antiquing wax, honestly. And I know you're shocked to hear that because I love working with the antiquing wax so much. But speaking of antiquing wax, for the larger scoop, I did grab my antiquing wax and I am just going to add a fairly heavy coat on this. I'm going lighter in some areas, heavier in some areas, and I'm doing that on purpose because I want this to kind of have a very weathered, very aged, kind of an antique look. So once I have everything covered with that antiquing wax, then I took my cloth and I'm just going to start wiping away some of that excess stain and really kind of spreading it out over those thinner areas. Now, after I've got all of this done, I'm going to put away my paint caddies, and again, I love these so much. They're so perfect for my cart that I have right here. What's great about them also is if you keep your paints maybe in a cabinet, they actually stack on top of each other, which is really, really great. They've got these handles on them, which makes it really easy to pull them in and out of my paint cart or of your paint cabinet. And, you know, they're not so big that they don't allow you other room for other things like hand sanitizer or cleaning cloths or anything like that. So I took my twine and I am going to go ahead and just tie together my little spoon, my scoop, my cutting board. And I'm doing this because I want this to kind of have the effect of it being tied together without having the bulk of trying to get through there. So I went ahead and just kind of took my twine and literally just fed it through there. And then I took this little orange bow. I had some Dollar Tree ribbon and I just made a very simple bow. You guys know I am not a very good bow maker, so I tend to do these off camera. And I am just going to glue it right on top of there and add it. And I think that this is such a cute little accent. I think this could be an adorable ornament. Maybe you have a fall DIY tree or a great item for a tiered tray. I am so happy with the way that this turned out. For my next DIY, I'm going to be taking a cinnamon broom, one of these pre-tied bows that I picked up from Amazon, and then I have some floral picks and some mums from Dollar Tree. Now this bow, I've used this once before in another DIY, and I absolutely love it, and it's great for all of my holiday colors. And so for the sorry about the shaky camera there. But for the cinnamon broom, it's a little tall. So I'm going to actually cut it down once I figure out how to get this plastic off of here. Have you guys ever noticed how like sometimes the plastic or the glue used to hold something together that you buy at Dollar Tree or retail anywhere is sometimes stronger than the actual item itself? It's crazy. So for this broom, I'm going to hack off the top part of this. So I just grabbed this saw. This is actually a plumber saw. It's just like a little hand saw. I had a hand saw from Dollar Tree for a while. It broke, so I need to replace it once my Dollar Tree has them again. But this little handsaw tends to work out pretty well for stuff. It's really designed for metal, but it works pretty good on the broom here. And I am just going to go ahead and cut that down until I get it to a point that I could just kind of break it off. And then some of those little fronds or kind of the cinnamony smelling goodness that I'm just kind of trimming away there, I can actually use those and put those in a potpourri or something. Those stems that are left over from that piece that I cut off, though, I am actually going to use that for another project down the road. So be on the lookout for those. Now, for the bottom of the broom, I am going to go ahead and just kind of spread this out. I think I mentioned that I got this broom at Michael's, but I have seen cinnamon brooms. They're definitely a lot smaller, but I have seen them at Dollar Tree before. And I also think that you could take a regular broom and just spray paint it. Spray paint it like a metallic and, you know, keep the broom part of the broom, the sweeper part of the broom, as natural as you can keep it, you know, from Dollar Tree. And I think you could easily recreate something very similar with this kind of idea in mind. I was at Hobby Lobby with my sister and we saw something that was similar to this and we both were like, we can make that. So that's what I'm doing now. So now that I've got this broom all set up and the size that I want it to, I'm going to go ahead and just get my picks ready. I've got a couple here that are from Dollar Tree, and then the flowers, I think they are Mums. They are also from Dollar Tree. And for these, I'm going to take my Lineman Pliers here, and I love this tool. This is an I think they're electrician lineman clips, but what I love about them is you can do one, or check this out, you can do all of them all at one time with very, very little effort. They're called Lineman Pliers, and I do have them in a link below. I think they're from Home Depot. And then for the Mums, I'm just going to kind of push those leaves up. I actually only end up using a couple Mums because of the size of the ribbon and the bow that I'm going to be using. And then also because I'm kind of keeping it simple-ish. You're going to see that I really don't end up using nearly as many florals as I thought. Now, you could certainly change this up if you wanted to. You could take this, you could create flowers and leaves and everything all the way from the top of that broom all the way down. For me, like I said, this broom was just going to be way too long, and it just wasn't something that I was going to be able to use at the given length that it came in. Now for the bow, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting this sucker tied on here, but I do end up just kind of splitting the broom down the middle and then taking the twisty up through there. And then for the floral picks, all I'm going to do is just stick these in that broom. It's so good, so easy, and it makes it really, really easy. This is a great DIY. Again, something that's super simple. I don't think that you have to, I didn't even make the bow. I bought the bow on Amazon. You could certainly buy a bow at Michael's, and then you just kind of look at it and get a feel for it. And then obviously I'm going to have to fluff it up a little bit because it was laying face down. But again, I'm just kind of going through, I'm playing with it, I'm looking at it, I'm kind of figuring out how I want the ribbon and everything to lay. And then I do end up going in and adding a couple more of the picks for the final project here, which is on my yellow door, which I love so much. And I am so excited how fall decor is going to look on my door. I'm obsessed with this. I love the way this looks. It gets me excited for the fall season, even though it is now almost the end of August. Can you believe that? All right, my next project, I'm taking a Dollar Tree sign, one of these pumpkin ornaments, just one from this 8-pack, and then I also have a placemat from Dollar Tree. This has a very cool kind of woven texture with that green and navy. You know that those are my favorite colors, so I'm going to definitely incorporate that. And then I found these beads very randomly at Walmart. They were like in the clearance department. They were 50 cents. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just prep my sign. You can use any kind of Dollar Tree sign that you want. This one happens to be one that is kind of a pet-friendly one. And I loved this because it has that kind of raised piece in the middle there. And I'm going to go ahead and just remove the front thing that was on there, this front sign. And then I'm going to remove any of the glue globs or anything from that little cardboard piece because I do want to keep that, and you can discard any of those pieces. Now, for the center of this, you have options. You could either try and peel it away like I'm doing here very unsuccessfully. You could certainly paint this if you wanted to, but I don't want to paint the wood. I want to keep the wood, and I can't use the placemat to cover this because you can see through that placemat. So I am going to take a piece of white construction paper, and I am literally just going to cut it down to the right size. I'm going to pull out my little cutter here that I picked up on Amazon, and I'm going to cut it down to the proper size. That way I can just hide all of those very cute paw prints that are in the back there. And, go ahead and just measure out the inside and just cut out a square. And then for the actual piece itself, I am just going to quickly do some zigzaggies of some hot glue. This is Surebunder's hot glue. And then I just glued that white piece of paper directly down. And then for this placemat is kind of great. Well, I guess I should remove the tag first. But the placemat's kind of great because it's almost the perfect width for the center of that box that I happen to grab. And because it has these kind of grid lines on it, it is very easy to cut this by hand without having to measure it or anything. You can manipulate it really, really easily, as you can see, and then you can bend it, and then you know exactly where you're supposed to cut it. So I was able to get this to fit inside of here really, really easily, and I think that using these placemats are probably going to be my new favorite thing. So once I went ahead and just kind of finished up this last piece of the placemat puzzle, then I am just going to once again add a little bit more hot glue. I kind of did it in the 4 corners, and then I also did it in the center to have this kind of perfect hold that you see here. Now, because that is a mesh, you know, the hot glue is going to seep through there some, so just be careful. It was a little warm in that one corner there. And then I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. I'm going to grab some paint from my Arteza Art Caddy again. I love this blue, and it's going to go with the blue that is in that placemat. And I'm just going to paint one of my pumpkins this great blue color from Arteza. And once again, I just reached to my paint caddy, grab the paint out, grab the brush out. I'm going to go ahead and just sponge this directly on here. I have a canvas down below just to kind of help keep my work surface very clean down there. And all I'm doing is just very lightly going across my pumpkin. And then once I have that kind of coated, I think I did this twice, I am then going to take out my heat gun and just kind of help speed up that drying process. That way I can finish this DIY for you guys. You may remember that little tiny square that I said you want to keep. I'm going to take that square now, and I'm just going to glue it down in the center of my box, right in the very similar area to probably where it was placed before. You're going to do this on top of your mat, and then I'm going to take my pumpkin that is nice and blue. I'm going to add some glue. I'm a poet. I didn't know it. Did you catch that? I added some glue onto that little square in the center there. And then I'm just going to take my pumpkin and just press it down in the middle, making sure that it has a good grip. And then I'm going to hide that hole. I'm going to go ahead and just touch up my paint too just a little bit, since it wasn't quite all the way dry when I did kind of push down the center there. So, you know, not a perfectionist here by any means sometimes. And, you know, happy mistakes happen. So I took my green twine and just tied a very simple bow, and I am just going to glue this to the top area there, covering up that hole where you would typically hang this ornament from. And I'm going to hold that into place for just a second, and we are almost done. I'm really, really happy with the way this looks. I think this would be adorable just as is on a tiered tray. It would look so, so cute. But you may remember now that I do have those beads. So I want to take those beads and kind of create a hanger. Now, I'm sure all of you have seen the beaded wooden signs that they do sell at Dollar Tree, and they're super, super cute. This is definitely something that was inspired. I love the way that this green really pulls out the green on the inside of that placemat. And originally I was going to go with all green, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just alternate this. So I'm going to take my twine, and I'm going to take out a fairly generous piece of twine, probably a little bit longer than I needed, but you'll kind of see why I end up doing that in just a second. Now, I'm going to start stringing these, and if you ever run into problems with your beads where you can't string them, like this one here, the twine is not going all the way through. It's because usually the twine is frayed, or there's something at the end that's causing it some grief. And what I will do is I will take out my heat gun, or my glue gun rather, and I will add some glue onto the end of my twine, and it really gives me a nice kind of stiffer twine that I can then thread my beads through really, really easily, like so. So when I have this all set and done, I'm going to tie off the ends of the beads just with a double knot, just to make sure that those beads do stay in place. And then I will trim down the twine just a little bit. I did add a lot of hot glue kind of in that corner. And then I'm just using this piece of scrap cardboard just to make sure that that twine is really set down in that kind of side crack. I don't know what that's called. And here it is when it's all done. Again, I think this is super, super cute. I think it'd even be fun just to use that beaded garland with this on a tiered tray. I love it. Also, I wanted to say thank you to Arteza for providing me these art caddies. I love this stackable bin. What's great about these is that they come in two different sizes. They have this larger one with this great wooden handle, and then they have these two smaller ones. Each is a set of two, and they will help keep you so organized. And as you can see, I had a ton of fun creating with Arteza today. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed these projects today. If you did, let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. Also, be sure to follow me on TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and probably any other new platform that's getting ready to come out. I'll make sure I have the crafty DIY guy as my handle there too. All right, guys, thanks so much. Bye-bye.